speak to the HR manager and say, can I just get a lunch break and explain why going to our gym and our opportunities are better for everyone? And again, I saw that as payment. But I think it really sort of blew up in the events world, right? I went and worked for a M&A firm, Novus Leisure. I was the first person to run two venues at the same time and turn them around, Sway and Red Cube, which became Ruby Blue. And then I got my own events company, and then got my own venue, number one Leicester Square, the Penthouse. And then I would I turned that from having a terrible reputation, it was known as the place that Russell Brand took prostitutes, and then you could buy good drugs and get stabbed, to like a place that was really beautiful for corporate events and really good for special events and special occasions. And I turned that entire business from zero revenue to over 1 million in 12 months. And it was Campaign Magazine that did an article about me doing things differently. And then all of a sudden people were like, could you come and speak? And I was like, no, I'm running a venue. Like, I'm doing events. Like, you don't understand how busy I am. And I was like, oh, I'll tell you what, it's $5,000. For $5,000, I'll do a 30-minute talk. And they're like, can you make it an hour? And I was like, wow, okay, hold on a second. And that started it off. And then every time that I noticed there was a flare, in other words, I did something good, like the podcast company won top 100 most profitable companies in the UK, won small business. We went to number 10 Downing Street. Suddenly, I was in the Guardian newspaper as a tech company that made it in. And then people booked me for speaking engagements again. And then I was the first male mentor on the Fast Forward 15, which supports women in entrepreneurship, become mentored. And then everyone wanted to talk to me. And I had this little talk called the New Agenda, being about why aren't more men supporting women, especially in our industry where 80% of the men run 100% of the boardrooms, and the women are all sort of at the bottom running the events but not working their way up. And I think that's been the real gift that I've had, is the ability to productize my talks, to get something successful that gets me attention, and then instead of it just being a thing that I do, I've got, hold on, that's a product. I can talk about resilience because of where I'm from. I can talk about building businesses. I can talk about selling businesses. I can talk about starting from scratch. I can talk about innovation, thinking outside the box, thinking inside the box, something I did, which was one of the most successful events we've ever done. My talk was more successful than the Michelin starred chef that was right next to me at, I wish I could remember, Comfex. And Comfex wrote me this letter going, we can't get over how packed. And it was just because no one had done a talk about thinking inside the box. Everyone was always doing this, I think, get outside the box. And I was like, in events, we can't. We have a brief. We have to stick within the lines. So how do we think creatively inside? And then I used Apollo 13 with the same problem. They were going to die. You couldn't think outside the box. You couldn't be like, well, you could just fly back from space. You had to look at what you had inside the spaceship. And by using that, work your way back to come back to Earth and survive.